So unfortunately, I didn't get to do this car before the bad weather hit, but we'll just take a look at it, show the nighttime lights started up. I do love how they have the GM keys that have an American Motors logo because it's got a Saginaw steering column. These AMCs are basically a conglomeration of parts from other automakers like the GM alternator, Ford starter, Ford Motorcraft ignition components. Even the, not these hubcaps, but you'll sometimes see on the early 80s AMCs like a wire wheel cover, and it has an AMC logo in the middle. If you take that AMC logo off, it's just a sticker, and underneath it, it's a Buick logo. So these folks were ingenious at cost cutting, and the finance guy in me loves them, but gosh, their door gaps and body fits. I mean, I can actually get I can get up to my second knuckle in that hole. And back here, it's well, it's not super tight. It's actually a pretty good gap back here. Somebody's gonna say this car was hit. No, this car was not hit. This is how they were built back in the day. And you can't really shift the door forward because this lines up appropriately. It's just that the metal didn't spread in the die as much as it should have. By this point, these dies were getting pretty weak. And like I said, actually the door gap back here isn't really tight. In fact, it's quite good. So you start shifting the door forward, that gap gets unseemly, and then you get air gaps here around the B-pillar. Let's take a look. This car does have the tartan check interior, which is in excellent condition. It just has about 35 some thousand miles on it, I think, maybe a little over now. Single dome light. A very upright position back seat. Does have more room than the Concords of the previous years. And here you can kind of see these are flood lit with that wonderful blue-green light. It says air conditioning, AM, FM stereo radio, cruise control. There's the four-wheel drive selector. That on these, you have to pull this little tab down here to stop and then engage it. Later ones, you could just move this over, shift on the fly. And then the earliest models, 1980, were all-wheel drive. They didn't have the select drive. So this is a really advanced system. It's full-time four-wheel drive. Unlike today's modern pickups and SUVs that have the auto setting, which is just a automatic part-time engagement, you can go around corners on dry pavement and everything and experience no wheel chatter in four-wheel drive in this car. It has a viscous coupling between the front and the rear wheels that the more slippage it detects, the more viscous the fluid becomes, and it transmits more power. So it's a really ingenious transfer case. It was made by New Venture Gear at the time. And just a cool car. I love this car. You know, AMCs, some people pigeonhole them, but what they did with so little money, I mean, this car is a pleasure to drive. It really is. It's not fast, but it has rack and pinion steering, which feels very modern and actually is pretty heavy for the time. And I would say good brakes. The motor, the 6-cylinder, is very, very quiet. This car's been sitting here for 3 months or something. So it's gonna take a little while to start. Hopefully the battery's good. Let's see. Oh, the battery's a little weak. Maybe I won't push it. Oh, let's see. It'll start up. Oh. Not bad. Running smoothly. These 6-cylinder AMCs are just workhorses, and I mean, it's hard to complain about them. They don't have a lot of great power. They have good torque. So you can drive up and down the street quite easily. Even look at the door panel. Yes, this is faux wood grain, but they did a nice job on here. The soft trim armrest. And I do love the shrugging shoulders seat with the headrest in the middle, the adjustable headrest that you can pull up here. Just a great old car. So we'll let this one warm up, take it for a brief spin on the few unsalted roads down here, and then put it back into hibernation. This, by the way, is vacuum activated when you move between 2- and 4-wheel drive. There's a vacuum hose under hood that then activates the transfer case. This is not the squid deployer. This is actually the vent, the kickwell vents, if you want some fresh air. And if you have an AMC, I highly recommend you lubricate your hood cable. Otherwise, you're going to break that off, that little tab, and you're going to be really mad at yourself because they're getting hard to find. The car even has quite a good stereo. I can't leave it on because YouTube will restrict me, but of course you can't hear anything because I'm in a warehouse, so I guess that doesn't do too much. I do enjoy, even if you put it on heat, the air still comes out these upper vents unless you close it off manually. Then all the air comes out from the bottom. This, by the way, is a Ford shifter. And like I said, a GM Saginaw steering column. This one does have the remote control mirror as well, day-night mirror. All this stuff was optional back in the day. So, and air conditioning, which gave you this tray down here with the 2 vents on either side. One there, one there. I call them the knee coolers. And this car has really cold air conditioning, so between the 4 outlets, it's not a big passenger compartment. It's just fine. I could sit in the driver's seat and touch the other B pillar. It's a pretty narrow car. In any case, hope you enjoyed this little video. I'll give a full review of the Eagle at a later time. Thanks for watching. Quick little startup. Running smooth.